I never understood why some people need teammates. I can easily get a chicken dinner by myself. Like now, all I have to do is use this. You've been eliminated. A two-seat bike? What a great vehicle. Who's next? Look, isn't that easy? Damn. Are you friend or foe? I think there's something special about it. Bikes. What an interesting invention. Chicken dinner for two? Not bad. I never understood why some people need teammates. I can easily get a chicken dinner by myself. Like now. All I have to do is use this. You've been eliminated. A two-seat bike? What a great vehicle. Who's next? Look, isn't that easy? Are you friend or foe? I think there's something special about it. Two-seat bikes? What an interesting invention. Chicken dinner for two? Not bad.
Finals right here for the Valentine's Royale. Of course, my name is DK and I am joined by Neptura. Neptura, day 2, about to get started. Super excited to see you. What are you feeling here for today?
I'm honestly feeling really... I'm interested. My curiosity has been piqued. You know, again, we don't generally go into like duos and things like that. So it's really, really interesting to see what effect that has on the gameplay. We saw some epic stuff coming in last night. Can't wait for day 2, DK.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a bit of a banger here, looking at what the teams are going to be bringing in. If yesterday is anything to go by, and of course, as we know, stepping into our second day of the semifinals, we are, of course, then served with a whole new side order of teams coming through once again, right? So it's all going to come down to how these teams are going to be performing, how they're going to be stepping up, and we are going to be playing across our 3 maps here once again. So there will be ample opportunity for the teams to get it really, like, you know, hunker and get down to business, show us what they can bring on through. We had a very exciting Erangel just yesterday, so I want to see where today's group of teams are going to be looking to take it. Are they going to be looking to step it up and go that extra little bit further, or are they going to try and kind of meet it on par halfway through?
Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering the same thing, really, where these teams are really going to be putting their momentum, where they're going to be strategizing. There we go. Where they're going to be strategizing. Wow, what games, you know, what maps they're gonna do. We're just gonna go right past that. We're not gonna try that again. But yeah, is it gonna be Erangel? Is it Miramar? Is it Sanhok? Which one are they looking to do best in, and how is that strategy working into the next 3 games? Gonna be very interesting to keep a note on that, really.
Yep, of course we did see that prize pool up for grabs as well. And what makes this so interesting is, as you've said already, this is duos. This is not groups. This is not squads. This is only two players per team stepping out, showing us what they've got. I mean, yesterday we had a team like Zero Remorse, right? They picked up 17 eliminations across those 3 maps. We did have the players from Execute also then securing themselves 12. The Potatoes doing a few pro things there, walking away with their 10 elims as well. So it was a very interesting day. We also had a triple serving of Coops coming in. I'm pretty sure we're not going to have that triple dose of Coop action coming in here once again today. But I mean, a new day, new squads, new opportunities. And I want to see what they're going to bring through and just how far they're going to look to push it. And as we saw yesterday, right, the first map is going to be the more important one. It establishes that kind of momentum for the teams to build off of moving into the following games, right? Moving into that Miramar, moving into that Sanhok. But Sanhok is going to be that cherry on top to really try and solidify the final few points.
Oh yeah, it really is. It's going to be so much fun to watch because, like you said, for many of these teams, it is going to be that final frontier, that final attempt to get into those finals later on in the week. So I'm expecting to see a lot of teams just go all out, maybe get some hot drops in, last-ditch effort. What have they got to lose? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that entails going into that Sanhok. But coming into Erangel, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of really calm, kind of chill plays. I think a lot of teams need to get used to playing as in this lobby. And I always say this, that you play against these teams, many teams play against each other all the time, but you still see the same sort of very cautious gameplay coming into day one, because the vibe of every tournament is always different. So you end up having to scope out and feel out the teams in every single event, almost like they are new teams to you. So it's always very interesting to see what dynamic comes in to play for each event. So for these teams, I don't, they may have been playing against each other, all this entire time during qualifiers to get here. I don't care. This is a new phase. This is a new segment, and it's going to play differently.
Yep, it is going to play differently. And of course, speaking about how different it is, that flight path is going to be quite different in comparison to what we had at the start of this yesterday. I mean, yesterday we started down in that southwestern side, heading up towards the northeast. Today we start center north, and of course heading down into that southwestern section again. But speaking about flight paths, right, another thing that we have going as well is going to be our giveaway for our viewers in the chat. So be sure to keep a very close eye on the chat. There you could see a few codes dropping in there as well. It's going to be a first come, first serve while we look at that zone that is going to be situated on towards the western edge. Of course, the UC that's going to be up for grabs is going to be either 2,500 UC or 5,000 UC. So the moment you see it drop, be sure that you're in game, you get it grabbed, to get it going, and then we'll see where it goes. And for the time being, teams also now going to be looking to get it going. Not a lot of crazy drop action coming through. You could have a little bit of something happening towards that Rozok side, but down south does seem to be a nice concentration of duos also then dropping down there.
Gosh, I am just taken aback every time by how empty it looks comparatively, because we're, compared to teams, we're missing half the players there, so there's so few dots. It's so weird to be seeing that. But yeah, looking like there's already a couple of hot drops. I think you mentioned going over towards that school area. It looks like there's 3 different teams over on that side. Could be a little too close for comfort there. And I love seeing the military base going down there. We do have at least 1 team going there. But for the most part, as you said, apart from this hot drop, which is going to be real interesting, it is pretty chill. But let's see, Kama Esports doing some good work with that DBS. I tried the DBS, and yeah, it is as good as they make it seem. Hitting at long range is insane. I know, it's crazy, and I do not do well with shotguns, so I'm very impressed. So GG's.
I mean, well, DBS definitely, I think it's an acquired taste, right? I mean, I've tried it once or twice. Yes, I have had one single instance of a crazy play coming through, and never again, but that is just my luck. So, I won't be too biased with regards to the weapon. I've definitely been seeing quite a few players, really utilizing the living heck out of that. So, I've no doubt that it is a very, very capable weapon, but you know, when held in the right hands, definitely not mine. And that's why
Yeah,
I'm sitting here and not down there.
Exactly. That is my mindset completely. It is. It's so much harder on the ground. You can talk about it, you can analyze it, you can think about it all day long, you can talk about it all day long, but getting down there and actually doing it is a whole other thing. So, quite with you on that one. But yeah, looking pretty nice for the zone. We got a lot of open ground down to the Gatka and Ruins area. Also, shooting range looking pretty nice for some of these teams. But yeah, we'll just have to see how this zone ends up moving on. Where do you think it's centering up, DK?
Ooh. I'm gonna say I'm hoping for a little bit of that Georgia Pool action, right? Georgia Pool Hospital. I want to see it go in there. I mean, we've got enough players on in the lobby here to get a properly jam-packed Georgia Pool or potentially Georgia Pool crates area. So I want to see them now being forced there. I mean, if it goes anywhere else, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that, but definitely looking for a little bit of that more western side.
I totally agree, actually. Yeah, especially like Southern Georgia Pole crates hospital kind of spot. That would be epic. We'd never ever see the zone go there, and I would love for that to happen. We see a lot of Severny zones. Always Gatka fields, always South Pachinki fields. It's always, you know, the fields on Erangel. It seems like that's kind of the spot PUBG likes to take us. But you know what? Give us some Georgia Pole action. We haven't seen that in forever. And this team, the Crusaders, they would be quite happy with it, I think.
Yeah, it is going to allow quite a bit of flexibility, especially with regards to their positioning, if it does decide to stay up here. Of course, we're just a few moments away from finding out where exactly that next phase will be taking us, as the blue zone is about to close up completely.
Come on.
Strangely enough, similar to yesterday, we still have a few outlying players hanging around out there sipping on some blue juice. Hey! Hey!
Yes!
It's
One
moving
step closer. All right, yeah, but like you were saying just before that zone closed up, currently actually only 2 teams in zone right now. We do have one trying to just come in ever so slightly. We're looking at Gloriosos as well, just moving in there. But yeah, very strange to have only 2 teams in zone at the moment. So that's going to mean a lot of fights on those outlying sides, I think. That's going to be very interesting to watch as well. But yeah, a lot of late rotations, and that's interesting coming from so many of the teams in this lobby. Generally, you only see 1 or 2, maybe 3 teams really doing that kind of long rotation strategy, but a lot of them are doing that now. Probably because there's a lot less pressure, right? I mean, you've got so much more of the map open to you, so you're a bit more relaxed in your strategy to a certain degree. So maybe they feel so much of the map is actually open that they can just chill out, take those long rotations, but maybe not. Oh, nice use of the trike there and a skid. Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the Crusaders definitely not one of those teams that will be allowed a lot of a lot of opportunity here as the shots come through. That is getting hit. Now it turns to Zombie. But as we know, Zombie having a very fitting name. If they get hit, they can just rise up and go at it once again. I'm not quite sure if it works exactly that way here, but either which way, Hellfire are going to be looking to apply that pressure, as we can see them now riding straight on forward. Also just setting out the one, right? Not fully committing, but I can actually respect that at this point, because seeing that you've got such limited numbers, you don't want to risk it all necessarily right off the bat.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. It is very true, especially when they don't know that, right? They were not in a position to see that there was only a solo coming, so they don't have that kind of confidence coming in that, oh, it's going to be a 1v2. They don't know that. They're thinking it's a 2v2, and it's definitely a 2v2 now. So that initial push was actually very nicely played by them, I think. But these nades are going to be coming out. That's the wrong way round. Always hard to judge where those nades. You really got to be preemptive, because if you're not, by the time you actually throw it, they're on the other side of the building, as seen here.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself the question, where would I like to go if I was a nade, right? Not necessarily where the other players would like to go, as you can see him now all trying to just kind of fight for dominance and control of this building. But I like the push coming through here from Hellfire, not wasting a single moment, instead applying a lot of pressure, moving into the building. and B12. Just trying to get a little bit of that vitamin action going here. Blade also now just patiently waiting on the edge. But of course, those mollies getting sent up. And I like this because it is applying that pressure onto the Crusaders, knowing that they can't afford to make any mistakes at this point. And I mean, Hellfire, they look to be, well, potentially hell-bent on getting those elims.
They are indeed taking this very quietly. Oh, I see what he's doing. All right, all right. I was wondering why he was picking that up, but yeah, he is going to be trying to set that trap. Could be very nice. A nice little bit of games there. A little bit of mind games coming in there. Some high IQ strats. Oh, but that's not. Ooh, he gets it though. I thought he was going to go down there. Blade was ready for it, but the shots just didn't hit quite enough.
Well, I mean...
Zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, Zoom. That was Zoom. Hang on.
Yeah. Zombie is still alive and kicking, waiting to see if they can maybe bring in a bit of a play here. But this is now where it gets super important for Zombie to just keep a cool head, because, I mean, we've seen now what Hellfire can do. They're not going to waste any time, but out comes the S12K. The UMP 45 just a little bit quicker with that fire rate, and unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the road for them.
It is. Wow, the S12K not enough compared to the UMP. It is going to take them down there. Bit of a shame on the side of Crusaders. They had all the right moves going into that, but that number advantage, that initial knock, it was kind of game over. So not much they could do there. Just one of those GG's try again on Miramar. But during that entire time, that entire fight, we've had mostly all the teams come in. We just have that one solo from Maniac that has to move in still, but gosh darn it, DK. PUBG has not listened to us. It's Ruins.
Yeah, I mean, either which way, Ruins, I think, could also potentially bring in a little bit of excitement, depending on how these teams are going to be looking to play it out. I mean, we got the players here from Kama Esports as well now, looking to just find a bit of an approach. And I mean, it's an interesting spot they find themselves in. Not too crazy rotation that they have to make, but we can see a little bit of a play now being made on that western front, as it is going to be the players there from No Name moving in alongside the team coming through from Coffee and Milk. So either which way, someone is going to get a little bit of a wake-up call.
Yes, indeed. It does look like No Name have actually skirted past them, so they're opting for a little bit more of a field play here. We're looking at these buildings just on the outskirts of those fields. So this could be an interesting play, and I actually really like this positioning from them, because this will really mean some great third-party opportunities. If they can get up on those roofs, if they can get a little bit of that high ground going, they could have a really nice chance of getting a lot of eliminations this way.
Well, I mean, Savage could potentially be rotating right up towards them. The players coming through from Savage Esports. We do see Haas now just on that southern edge. Oh, creeping closer. This could be the opportunity now for Griffin Muffin to apply a little bit of that pressure. Look to see if they can leverage it. Out goes the shots, but unfortunately not a clear line of sight just yet. But again, up north, just further up ahead of them, we can see the teams now starting to converge. Of course, now Manic trying frantically to just evade a little bit of that spray, opting for a little bit of that hillside play, but it is going to be a pretty tough call, because just on the other side of the ridge, there's even more players lying in wait.
Yes, there are. It's really all starting to come together now. We're starting to see a lot of teams with a lot less room than they had earlier in the game, and we still have teams to move in. I mean, we have, who we got here? We've got Kama Esports. We've also got Cap. They still need to come in, one on that eastern front and one on the southeastern front. So Cap, they're going to have a little bit of an easier time, but Kama, they're running straight into Kretinos. So we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, looks like Hellfire got prime position right now.
Well, I mean, it's no surprise. Hellfire already establishing a little bit of a dominating play in those early stages. Blade and B2, both of them sitting with that one elimination to their name. Let's see, where's it going to go, though? Ooh, Griff now trying to make a bit of an angle, bit of a shot here. Tries to pick up a little bit of something. but it's not looking all too easy. And I mean, this is kind of what we were expecting, and it is similar to an extent to what we saw yesterday, but Coffee and Milk just trying to play off of those rooftops, and it is a little bit of a back and forth between the position that we see here for No Name and, of course, that Coffee and Milk angle.
It is indeed. I think the zone's decided the end of that fight for them, because the zone has moved up straight north. So we are having a tiny bit of that river. We've also got some of the mountains and ruins as well. So we're going to have a lot of rotations. I think this is where it's going to get crazy.
Yeah, already we can see Potato now trying to not potato this play as they look for a bit of an opportunity to move into. We got Onion moving in right behind them, just looking to fortify that bush. But of course, up on the hill, that is where the action could potentially come through next. As we've got P4 Ivies just holding their angle there, right alongside the players coming through from the Mavecitos. But Mavecitos are going to be finding themselves in a bit of an unfortunate sandwich, because No Name are pulling in on that western front.
Yes, they are. And in fact, that western side is going to get pretty busy pretty quickly. I'm wondering if Coffee and Milk are actually going to try and do something with this, but Hellfire is at the moment looking a little caught unawares there. Biz going down very quickly over there to Cap, and Cap going to be making a push for that, I'm pretty sure. But is this a push to this building? It is. Okay, so it's not a push past. If they're not using the knock to just get a better position, this is the position they want, and they're going to go for it. Oh, with the thirst.
Yeah, Onion just doubling down on a few of those vitamins there as well. But let's see whether or not Potato is going to add in to close up the soup here. Hellfire, things not looking all too great for them now. Blade trying to establish a little bit of a play to make. But looking at what's coming through from the side of Cap, I mean, this could probably potentially be the end for the players there from the side of Hellfire. Meanwhile, it's going to be No Name who gets eliminated all the way up on towards Everest. I mean, we did see them trying to push in, but it does seem like things didn't really work out in their favor. And speaking about favors, Karma also now making a quick mad dash, but the zone pulls in the opposite direction, moving all the way up into the northeast.
It has, and that is gone straight to the advantage of two Bellicos. They're good to go. They have that church, like little church compound area to that north side. You see it just there. But this is fantastic for them. But will they be able to control it? I mean, it's one thing controlling things when things are not all on you, but full fire. So busy.
Finding that spray down on towards Potato. Onion to give me the final Lone Ranger look to... Now pushing... now being played towards the zone as the teams are continuing to advance further and further forward. We just see them pretty centered up in zone, but now it's going to come that important play, right, for all the teams on the outlying areas, especially to make a stand and get themselves resituated back in towards that zone.
Yes, indeed. I mean, this is going to be very, very interesting. I kind of feel for Team 11 here, that solo Manic, that was a solo way in the beginning. He's managed to sneak into zone. He's on that south side, and as the teams start to rotate, quite a few of them making that really long rotation actually to the north. We're going to be seeing maybe a little bit of respite for him, but he's in zone. He's top 8. He's looking good to go. But man, the teams are falling left, right, and center at the moment.
Yeah, and of course that zone does move down to the southwestern side, but the pressure is on as we can see quite a few hits now starting to come through this way, and that the next team to fall is going to be C4 Ivies. But again, the positions are being held. We have got the players there from Savage Esports now looking to just find a bit of a landing to make, especially on that western front. But I'm looking to the east because we've got so many players still having to move in. We got the players coming in from the side there of the Cretinos Esports team, also having a bit of a knock coming in their direction, trying to find a bit of that retaliation. But it does seem like the two Belicos are going to be trying to keep a lot of that pressure now on them.
Yes, they are indeed. And so far, it looks to be working. It's looking very, very good for them. They're outside of zone, but they still have a lot of angles to be taking, especially now that all the pressure is on Coffee and Milk here. The Novita is down. He's going to have to get that res up and running, but a lot of teams are looking to them as that closest team to zone. Now we've got two Belicos moving in. They're going to move in straight on to the Manic solo. I don't know how that's going to fare, but they managed to go past him. Big rotation coming in from two Belicos here.
Ooh, but let's see whether or not Manic is going to be able to hold on. Cretinos, bringing in a little bit of a play. Flint now having to make that mad dash, trying to get ahead of the blue, but unfortunately it doesn't work out as the shots connect on up. Of course, the players here from Glorioso also trying to get themselves situated, moving in on the high ground, having a great opportunity. Look at that now, just going to work, picking up a few of those elims. And of course, what better way to do it with a little bit of coffee and milk? But is it going to be onto the last one? As Fake now is just holding on, trying to ride out that hard cover being presented by the vehicle.
Goodness. Yes, indeed. Oh, and the Molly does go to the Manic solo, so he is outdone and dusted. But now it's two. There's just two teams. It's a 2v1.
Ooh.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. Just like that. Just like that. Gloriosos take it. 8 eliminations.
Wow, I mean, that was just an absolutely insane play coming through from Glorioso. They well done, well played. I mean, each player contributing to those 8 elims, both of them picking up 4 eliminations apiece. So what a way to go out with this first game, picking up a glorious chicken dinner for 2. And I mean, you know, it's quite fitting being right here in the Valentine Royale. But again, as we saw yesterday, a very exciting start coming through on our very first game. I mean, we saw a pretty strong effort being brought through. I mean, we did see the players there from Hellfire, even though they finished all the way in 7th place, they were still able to secure themselves at least those 4 eliminations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, especially with the new point system, those eliminations really matter. So really nice to see his teams start to really get aggressive and get those points on the board. But fantastic play coming in from Gloriosos there. Yeah, player of the match. Wonder who that's going to be. Oh, yeah, it's going to be Strap. That's fair. Yeah, looking very, very nice. And I love that play coming through because his teammate was actually knocked. So he just went for the 1v1. He didn't even try to res his teammate. He went outside of zone. So very, very confident plays coming in from Glorioso. Love to see it.
Yeah, good performance indeed. I mean, the damage also almost hitting that 400 point. And our most valued team, none other than Glorioso as well. So they got the chicken, they got the MVP, they got the MVT. I mean, what more could you ask for some pretty decent players to finish off the very first game? But now, that was a big question, Nep. Are they going to be able to maintain that momentum? Because we did see, you know, teams having a little bit of a tough time yesterday. But our top 4 teams here with regards to the amount of damage and eliminations they were able to secure, still putting in some decent numbers.
Yeah, you know, I'm feeling pretty confident for Gloriosos in particular. I think that kind of aggression, that kind of play of the zone, I kind of feel like that is going to serve them well over in Miramar as well. So I'm curious to see how they're going to actually utilize what they have in Erangel and put it into Miramar. But yeah, Hellfire as well, doing some really good stuff. Prioritizing position for sure for Hellfire. So again, want to see where that puts them in Miramar, because there's a lot of prime positions. The problem with Miramar is, you know, if you favor high ground, there's always ground higher than you on Miramar. There is always an angle higher than you. So if you're a team that prioritizes positioning, then I'm very curious to see where that actually puts them and how well they adapt to the zone changing where those positions are.
Well, we'll find out in due course exactly how that is going to play out in our remaining games. But of course, after our first match, here are our results. It is going to be Glorioso finishing on those 18 glorious points. Manic then securing himself 7. And we had Coffee and Milk dunking it up there with a bit of that 6 points. Hellfire securing themselves 5 points. 4 of those coming through from eliminations. The 2 Belicitos, of course, bringing in those 4 points from the ranking. So a nice little bit of a trade up. Then, of course, as we move down, we can see it was a pretty close play. Unfortunately for the Crusaders and No Name, they were unable to find any eliminations or even placement points coming through. But, of course, there's still 2 more maps to go.
Yes, isn't that right? I mean, there's so much that can happen in the next 2 games. I mean, Miramar, completely different map. Sanhok, a completely different map from the other 2. So, yeah, no hope is lost. And like we saw yesterday, like we saw last night, each map had different top 5s, different teams doing well in each one. So certainly those teams could very well end up winning the whole thing in the next couple of games.
Yeah, the opportunity is definitely pretty ripe for the taking here. So I'm curious to see what is going to be happening as we move a little bit closer onto our remaining few maps. Of course, we are going to be stepping into Miramar next, heading into a little bit of that more long-range engagement. Yesterday, we did see the teams actually getting down to business relatively quickly. I mean, even on such a vast map, they didn't waste a lot of time, right? They just got straight in there, looking to secure as many points as they could. And there was quite a bit of excitement following through. So I hope to see the teams continuing on with that trend, even though we've got an entirely new group now stepping up. But as we know, right, these teams really don't disappoint. And of course, on that one, I think we are also then getting ourselves that ever closer to moving into a quick break before we head into that final bit. So on that cue, let's move in and we'll see you guys right back after the break. Yep.
I never understood why some people need teammates. I can easily get a chicken dinner by myself. Like now, all I have to do is use these cards. You've been eliminated. A 2C bike? What a great vehicle. Who's next? Look, isn't that easy? Dang. Are you friend or foe? I think there's something special about it. Susie bikes. What an interesting invention. Chicken dinner for two? Not bad.
Everyone, and welcome back to the Valentine Royale Semifinals Day 2. Right here with myself, DK, and Neptura. Of course, we're prepping ourselves to get into a little bit of that desert action. We're already having quite a bit of action come through on Erangel. But this is where I'm curious to see where we are going to be having that flight path go through, right? Yesterday, the flight path was very kind. Looking at what we've had so far in the first game, a little bit of a change-up coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see that. Let's get some really challenging zones up in here. You know, as a spectator, we always want to see the most amount of action possible. And generally that means putting these teams in some really rubbish situations, honestly, which feels kind of mean for them because we want them to do their best and have all the luck in the world on their side. But we got to think of ourselves as well. And I really want to see some really difficult zones come in here.
Well, speaking about luck on their sides, of course, just a reminder for the viewers, again, we are going to be, well, there should be the codes dropping in the chat at some point during the broadcast here today. It could either be 2,500 UC or it could be 5,000 UC. It's going to be first come, first serve, so a little bit of a surprise there. We don't know which one it is. You'll find out if you are the first one to claim it in game. So you're going to be, you know, one of the fastest fingers to get it, and that's the only way that you're going to get it. But speaking about getting it, of course, the teams now are going to be looking to get it as well as they are prepping themselves. We've got the flight path out there. We've got the zone also being super eager, right? Revealing itself well ahead of time.
Very early. Yeah, I'm surprised to see that. Look at that. First of all, look at the plane zone. That is an insane plane zone. I love that plane zone. Unfortunately, the plane zone, really? Flight path, that's what I meant. Unfortunately, shush. Unfortunately, Circle hasn't really listened to that at all, and we are going to be seeing it go over to kind of some normal areas. I'm looking though at that kind of center south area, that road between Monte Nuevo and Los Leones, because that road, that area is very, very open, and that could get really tricky for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, you were asking for a little bit of a challenging zone, and I do think that is what we've gotten here because you know, the flight path, it was close enough to be able to get into those early parts of the stage, but pushing onto those far western sides is really going to take quite a bit of determination and a little bit more effort to be able to secure decent positioning in. But for the time being, we could have some action coming through up in towards that, you know, Hacienda del Patron, San Martin, even potentially Graveyard, Power Grid, Picado. There's so many potential positions where we could see these teams really starting to battle it out early on. And I think this is the kind of the approach that we want to see come through a Miramar, taking into consideration that it is such a big map, and there's always that opportunity for the map to maybe play out a little bit longer due to its size.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, yeah. But well, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the map as well, and I'm looking, you know, we were talking about being super kind of aggressive towards these teams and wanting some difficult zones coming in here, difficult flight path, all that good happy stuff. And we've kind of gotten gotten that really, DK, because look at that eastern side. Because of the zone, because of the plane path and the zone not actually really coordinating, we're getting a huge influx of teams on that eastern side. Over half of that zone is unoccupied at the moment. They're all between San Martin, Pacado, Chumacera. They're all there.
Yeah, I mean, and that is partially due to, or rather thanks to the flight path being what it was, or as you said, the flight zone. But speaking about flight zone, No Name are going to come flying straight up into Power Grid, and they are going to be met with a little bit of opposition, as we can see those first shots connecting on through. Of course, we did see the players there from the side of the Crusaders already having a pretty tough run. The same thing can be said here for No Name. Both Crusaders and No Name were taken out first, or rather early on. They were the first two teams getting sent back over on Erangel, and it seems like, you know, Fate has a very similar kind of plan for them this time around as well.
Yeah, unfortunately it does seem that way, and this is what happens when you hot drop. Sometimes you just don't get the loot, you don't get... Oh, hello, that is unnecessary for No Name. That's just not what they want at all, is it? But no, they are going to be moving on out. That's okay. But yeah, it's just very sadly, this is what happens a lot of the time on PUBG. You just, yeah, I mean, look, he's got an AK and a med and armor, and poor No Name have practically nothing. It's a Tommy gun, no meds, no armor. They're really, really messed up in this position, but can see what they're going to be doing here. Interesting to see that actually we aren't seeing that much aggression coming in from Venture. They're playing this very quietly, so that's actually allowing them to get that res to get back up and running as a duo. So I'll have to see how that plays out. Gloriosos though getting caught out there. Oof, looks like he's going to have to be behind that truck.
Yeah, and the two Belisos are going to be looking to apply that pressure. Kenny now, pretty close, trying to see what they can find, and I just noticed that both players coming through from the side here of the two Belisos, it's Kenny Dan and Kenny Dan, right?
Oh yes,
so,
it is.
So either which way, that's going to be a fun one once they really start locking in those elims. It does seem like No Name have been able to find a little bit of a positioning here. Muffin and Griff now just making a mad dash.
Wow.
And actually managing to evade a potential early trip back into that lobby. So good on them. Meanwhile, Cap, they're going to be looking to come in hot on the Crusaders here, as Zoom now is without Zombie. And unfortunately, you know, there's no resurrection going through for Zombie.
No, it doesn't look like there is. Oh, that is that's kind of heartbreaking for him, because again, one of those teams that went out early over in South Georgia Pole. But yeah, not the best start for him, but they're still alive, you know. They're not out of the game just yet. We saw the Manic solo from Erangel actually survive well into the late game, so entirely possible for them, but that's not where you want to be. Who goes out in the middle of the road like that? Goodness me. Kenny Dan just getting a little caught out there, and he's gonna go right back from whence he came. So that's actually gonna save that solo out there in the field just a little bit. He might be able to actually move out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, and I'm actually like, it's a little bit sad that there wasn't three of them. You know, it wasn't the three Belisos, because it would have been Dan. But either which way, Ventru now trying to apply a little bit of pressure, still up here in towards the Power Grid region. Again, that re-knock coming through on towards Muffin, and this is now the opportunity for Griff to see if they can close this one out. It is a little bit of a cat and mouse game this way and that. In and out of the building they go. But it does seem like Juan is holding a very steady angle, not wanting to get caught out. And Griff super low in that health bar. One good cough could spell the end here for Griff, but let's see where's it gonna go. It does seem like Juan is trying to ride it out on the on the outside, and a big chase coming through, but it does seem like they escape, at least for the time being.
How does they keep doing this? Griff, man. He's only got those band-aids, but I don't... Oh, it's at the expense of his teammate, though. Rip. But who's this in the back? Look at that. They're coming in for a third party as well now. Oh, but that nade is beautiful, and down they go. So, oof. That's Venture coming in clutch there. But yeah, that was a bit of an interesting fight actually. I'm kind of surprised that they decide to go for the refight rather than just move on. But you know, it is what it is, and No Name, they're gonna be going out in that 14th place there. But GG's. We'll see them perhaps elsewhere, but C4 now coming in to make Ventru just panic a little bit.
Yeah, it does seem like the C4 IVs, they just want to, you know, blow up the action here. Let's see whether or not they're going to be able to pull that one off. Already the mollies, though, are going to get deployed, and Ventru, ooh, now getting caught in an interesting position here. Juan already taking a little bit of the damage there. Quickly trying to just bring themselves back into the swing of things. Brittany and Ghoul are going to be trying to ride this one out. A great angle coming through here for the utilities. Will it find its mark, though? It gets scary close, but Juan is not going to be the one to get taken down just yet.
Not just yet. Tell you what, these teams doing a great job of staying alive. I mean, how on earth are they managing this far on? Just continuing, the fight is just drawing out. But Ventru, I mean, they know the angles. This is what happens when you know a building. You get shots like that. GG's, and it's a 2-for-1. Out they go. C4 Ivies knew the angles, but not as well as Ventru. So GG's there. That's what happens when you know a building, and that's why building knowledge and angle knowledge is so important. Oh wait, he's back. Kenny Dan on the street again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And speaking about the Dandans, the two Belisos, they find themselves pretty close to center zone, as we did see that blue zone, of course, now closing up, taking us into that second stage.
Yeah.
Hellfire now going to be looking to defend the edge of zone as they find themselves now having to face off alongside. Ooh, the spray's coming through. It is going to be Nosa Love Hossam. But how much of that are they going to be able to find, though? Because I mean, it's a pretty spicy play. But look at Dan now trying to push in, trying to revenge Dan, who's just been taken out. But where will it go? Will they be able to find that clutch? Beautiful game of cat and mouse this way and that. All around the shack they go. Where will it stop? Nobody knows.
Oof. Yeah. I figured there was a third party coming in there that was not nice. Not nice at all. I tell you what, that back and forth, that movement coming in from one of them is ooh, okay, ouch, spray to the noggin. That's not gonna feel nice. But I tell you what, my internet was lagging with that movement that player was doing around the shack like that. So GG's for movement, A+ on that. But unfortunately, not going to be working out. They're just too good. Glorioso's got that cover down really nicely, as the zone does go to that really dangerous open area I was talking about earlier. And DK, we still have 1, 2, 3 teams outside zone. Four teams, sorry.
4 teams on the outside. We still have a little bit of a lurking action down on that far southern edge. Of course, that is going to be the players from Savage Esports now sipping on some of that deadly blue juice down south. But speaking about the A+, right? I've casted with you quite a bit, right? And I've never heard you make that high frequency sound, that high frequency squeal. So
yes.
That's how you know stuff just got lit, because once Nep starts squealing like that, you know, it's game on.
It is. It's become a bit of a habit. I don't have words, so I just have sounds for this kind of action that sometimes happens in the game. And maybe it brings hype, maybe it's annoying, I don't know, but it certainly is exciting. It means excitement.
Yes.
That's what we want to see out here on the battlefields. We don't want nothing boring. We want action. Get us some good rotations, get us some good plays coming in here. We've been seeing it really nicely so far, and here we go. Maybestos as again gracing us with their presence on the sands of Miramar, looking very nice. They got a pretty good spot in zone as well, if I'm looking at that correctly, so should be okay. And Manic are still a duo, so that's nice as well. But Ventru trying to get a good spot. That's going to be a very nice area to go on. But in that low ground with all that high ground around them, they could get angled out very quickly.
Yep, they definitely could get grounded out indeed. And of course, the players here from Glorioso also going to be looking to find a new place to call home. As we see David now just trying to pull back to their teammate Hellfire. They're all going to be looking to rain down chaos here. Almost ran out of English on that one. But either which way, Blade now coming through with the hits, finding a little bit of damage, moving into the party bus. But it does seem like that positioning coming through for the players of Glorioso is going to pay them some great dividends, at least for the time being.
Whoa, yeah. Yes, it is. And I like to see that a lot. I would like to see kind of a 1-1 split coming across either side of that little point. Yeah, they need to split up immediately, get out of that bus. That's just death waiting to happen, but they're not going to do anything that I'm saying. They're going to go straight for that middle. That kind of makes sense from a team like this. We've seen that happen before. They're going back to a shack. Ooh, shack of all places. This is going to be interesting. I'm not entirely sure. I think this is a bit of a panic play coming in. It's a bit of an emergency. That bus was smoking up, and Hellfire, they're going to be... Yeah, they're going to be very aggressive with this. Not quite crossing the road, but a great angle nonetheless.
I mean, Blade not holding back whatsoever, just applying so much pressure right here. And of course, as we can see, David could have their time numbered. I think it could get punched. Oh, instead it is going to be strapped to go down. And that is David following suit. Off goes Glorioso. And more points now getting added onto the tally there for Hellfire. Oh, maybe Citos now still having to try and make a bit of a play. We can see them position up on towards that northwestern side. They do have a little bit of opposition held up ahead of them. Of course, Zoom now just riding on the ridge behind them. But Manic just kind of keeping a bit of a gatekeep positioning on there. But look at this coming through from Kretinos.
Whoa. This is a very interesting play coming in here with the red dot as well. Got that scar. Oh, but I think they have a bit more than a red dot on their weapons in that return fire, because that was a very nice little hit right there. Mebestos, they're trying to get out of zone, but they're kind of getting gate kept just a little bit by a couple of teams, and the Crusaders going to be going out again to some teams inside zone. That's a shame for the Crusaders. GG's though. You always hate to see it when the vehicle blows up like that. You know how helpless that feels when you're just like, please, please, please.
No, I love it. I love it. You know, Zoom went through, and that is what we like to see. Of course, now Manic just holding on the edge. Maybe Citos now trying to leverage the positioning here. Oh, the hits come through, but instead it kind of backfires. On them. But look at that. It is just chain fighting all over the place. I mean, that's like a third party on top of the third party cap. Now having to close that gap to get themselves resituated back into the safety of the zone. But Kretinos now trying to play it in on this eastern front. They got a Hellfire just lurking up ahead. And this is where Kretinos needs to be super careful, because, I mean, Hellfire, they look to be trying to establish quite a showing of dominance, as we did have them finishing with 8 eliminations in the previous match. Now already sitting on 6. And it could seem like there's still quite a few up for grabs here.
Oh yeah, there's plenty up for grabs, especially the way they're playing. They're playing this super, super well, really maintaining that distance between teams here. So they've now moved over to the shack because it is in zone, but now they're trying to keep Kretinos away as much as possible. So looking very, very nice for them. I really like the way they're playing that, but now we're going to be moving on to Cat. Oh, and it's the nades, it's the buildings. I hate close quarters like this. It's very pressuring. Oh,
wow.
That hurt. Ouch.
Yeah.
Wowa.
Onion and potato getting peeled back on that one, and off they go, making their way back into the lobby. 5 teams now remain, down to 9 players. We've got Novita coming through. Repping for the side of coffee and milk. So I don't know if that's coffee or milk, but either which one, I'll take either. Down on that southern edge, we still see the players coming through for Savage. But look at this now. Blade finding the spray, picking up a great knock. And now it is all down to Flint rather, to see where they're going to be able to go and whether or not there is going to be a little bit of future available now for the Kretinos.
Yeah, that's an interesting play, but I think his teammate had just crossed the road. He couldn't get back to him, so he has to go off as a solo here, but who's that trying to get some nice little shots over there? It is, of course, going to be Ventru. So Ventru, we've seen them from pretty much the beginning of oh, Coffee and Milk going out there, so no chance for them to continue here. But Ventru been here since the start of the match over in Power Grid, so they're continuing to do well. They're still up as a duo. They are pretty much the furthest from zone, but should be a fairly easy next rotation for them. Oh, especially when these two are so engrossed in what they're doing. Ouch, Blade going out there.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an unfortunate play, but Ventru now trying to push in. Oh, here we go. Easy catch. Blade. Wow. I mean, that's usually we see when they get close enough, the kind of counts.
Yeah.
But, well, either which way, Blade survived the first, but not that second one. We got Nito now just holding strong. Juan now moving up as well, looking to get a little bit of the spoils of victory. But Hellfire down to 1. It is going to be B12. Now looking for a bit of a little bit of vitality here, as they do find themselves in a quite a bench position. Kretinos right there alongside them, and this could be the end now as B12. Oh yes, it's taken down and swallowed in one gulp.
It is indeed, but 6 eliminations, 1,200 damage. That's a lot coming from a duo. That is a heck of a lot. So GG's there. Definitely a very good game for them. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. 4th place with 6 eliminations. All good to go. But this, I would not want to be Ventru right now. I really would not. This is pretty bad. I mean, at least they have the buggies. They can make that run for it. But if they full send it, they got 2 teams looking at them. So you really want them to instigate a fight. I mean, they got a minute. I wouldn't be rotating quite so early just yet. I wouldn't be doing that at all, because now both teams are just going to be focused on you. What they need to do is wait for Savage and Kretinos to actually get into a fight and try and sneak in. They've got a minute left. Try and instigate some of that stuff going on. Try and get them to peek some angles that they shouldn't, that gives them access to each other, and then make that rotation. But they're not doing it, and at the moment, if they're not going to do that, this rotation is not that bad.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a great opportunity for Kretinos now to come inching a little bit closer onto Savage, seeing that Savage is distracted with Ventru trying to push in on that edge side. So it's interesting how this is all now turned around. And this could potentially spell quite a bit of trouble for the side here of Savage, as they are being pushed from either side. I mean, if you asked me 5 seconds ago, or maybe, well, 15 seconds ago, what I thought about Savage's position, I would have said, you know, it looks pretty great, but looking at what has developed so far, it does seem like they could be in a little bit of trouble, especially now that the Kretinos are going to stop pushing on forward. Ventru now getting caught out on the edge. That blue zone is going to be absolutely brutal as it now moves on forward. But this is that opportunity now. It is going to be Savage and Kretinos going at each other. But let's see, will Ventru be able to swoop in with a little bit of that third-party contribution?
A little bit, yeah. That Groza was definitely not from anybody inside that house. So Ventru, one of them's got a Groza, and they're trying to do some stuff, but that's going to be a nade. And this is, oh yeah, there's definitely some third parties going on. Love the 1-1 split coming in from Ventru, playing this very well.
Oh, but here we go.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Down they go.
Kretinos getting wiped off Miramar, and now it turns to Nito, the final player, alongside Juan, to contend against the side of Savage. But still, Savage managing to hold on to some decent positioning within the zone. They got that hard cover, but if you look at Ventru, they've got all these ridges to play from, so it is a very fair positioning this time around, looking at the available angles that they've got. But either which way, Ventru will still have to push further forward, and I think that could potentially then turn in favor of Savage. But let's see, will that be their fate?
That zone is so fast. I mean, I'd use the buggies, honestly, although that wall's just going to get in your way, so perhaps not. But I'd like to see Juan closer to that building. He's not close enough to that building to kind of skirt through it. He's choosing to go over into the open ground. But this is bad from Savage. Why are you grouped up at that door? That's only one angle. Nice return, though. But that's not going to be enough.
Come on, Husk, come on. Oh, Nito
GG.
steps up, closes it out, and that is Ventru walking away victorious. Again, 8 eliminations getting picked up by our team in pole position with that chicken dinner for 2. But the damage is considerably higher, sitting on nearly 1,400 damage.
Wow. Wow. I mean, what a well-earned win there. Very, very well played at that end game, at the end zone, rather. I think, yeah, it was totally very well played. I kind of, I had mentioned I wanted to see a bit of a different push, but actually they kind of did the same thing, just in a slightly different order. So actually, that was really well done. They timed that very well, and that push was pretty good. So yeah, looking very good, and yeah, GG's.
Yep, GG's indeed. But of course, another round of GG's going out to the players there from Hellfire once again, right? They finished this match not with 8 eliminations like they did before, but they're going in with those 6. And of course, our player of the match is going to be Juan G. As you can see, picking up those 5 eliminations for the team, sitting on 738 damage being dealt. So some very impressive figures brought in right there. And of course, I believe potentially our MVT is going to be, venturing. Indeed, it is 8 elims up, quite a bit of damage. Well, some decent amount of assists, and of course, a really strong survival time.
Yeah, very strong survival time. And those assists, I mean, I think we've seen 2 or 3 perhaps, but 4, it's like a full squad. So yeah, that's 2 duos going down thanks to them in some way. So very nicely done. 1,300 damage by 2 people. That's insane. But yeah, top 4 teams, here we go. Ventru taking all that home, but Hellfire again doing very well. And look at the difference though, Savage and Gloriosos. I mean, Gloriosos were our winners in the Erangel, and they won by quite a lot, and here they are with 469 damage compared to 1385 Adventure. There's a big difference in some of these teams' gameplay here.
Yeah, definitely is quite a bit of a difference coming through with regard to that gameplay, but you know what, team's definitely keeping it up strong. I just realized I said that it was Hellfire that got 8 elims, but in fact it was Glorioso that did that. So
right,
you know, a little bit of oopsie.
it
fine. It's fine. It was the desert heat that got to my head. But either which way, speaking about that, it's time for the head-to-head between Venture Inc. and Hellfire. And as we know, right, only 2 elims separating these 2 teams. But it's interesting because Venture, they got that chicken, as we know, and Hellfire finished all the way down in 4th place, but very similar looking stats coming out here.
Yeah, very similar, and that's what happens when you have a super duper strong mid game. Honestly, I thought Hellfire were looking really good to win that whole thing, but they just got kind of caught out there on the edge of zone. The zone shift didn't really favor them all too well when you had a team next to you like that. But there we go. Oh, we're looking at some overalls here.
Hey. Yes, indeed. There we go. We can see Glorioso now still maintaining that pole position now with 20 total points coming through here. As we know, only a few of those coming through from the past match. Venture Inc., of course, now catapulting themselves up into that 2nd place, sitting on a grand total of 18. Hellfire not too far behind them. Savage also keeping a very tight positioning coming through. Coffee and Milk, unfortunately, are going to be moving down. Kretinos also then on the up and up here. But it's still a very close draw across the board, and unfortunately No Name and the Crusaders yet again getting sent back completely empty-handed.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, because they've been looking really good, but they're just not able to keep momentum going into the kind of mid phase of game where I think they could be really good. Yeah, they just keep going out a little bit early, so hopefully they'll be able to get that ready to go and sorted by Sanhok. You know, have a little bit of a break, have a little bit of time to kind of reset and kind of discuss very slightly. And Sanhok is such a different playstyle from the rest of the maps that we could see a big opportunity coming in for them.
Yeah, definitely could be a great opportunity. It is a map, of course, that allows for quite a bit of that aggression to come through. So I'm curious to see who's going to be those teams stepping up to the plate, locking in a few more of those points. But Glorioso currently still holding on to that lead. So there's not a big gap, as we saw, only 2 points separating first from second. So the heat is going to be on. And what better map to do it on other than Sanhok? It is going to be allowing a lot of that sweaty plays to come through. And I think on that one, of course, we are going to be making our way into a quick break while we get everything sorted. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll see you guys right back afterwards.
I never understood why some people need teammates. I can easily get a chicken dinner by myself. Like now, all I have to do is use these. You've been eliminated. A two-seat bike? What a great vehicle. Who's next? Look, isn't that easy? Dang. Are you friend or foe? I think there's something special about it. Bikes. What an interesting invention. Chicken dinner for two? Not bad.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Valentine Royale on the desk with myself, DK and Neptura, and we're getting ready to venture into the luscious jungle over on Sanhok to get into a little bit of that sweaty action to see when our duos are going to be bringing it to the battlefield. Now, Nep, as we know, right, flight path is not going to be all too important. Where do you want to see that first zone going as we move into Sanhok?
Oh, that's a hard question because there's so many good spots, right? We had the island zone yesterday. I think we've done that. We need to have something different. I would love to see a southeastern kind of cave docks kind of zone. We rarely ever see that, and I would love to see some representation for that side of the map.
Well, let's see. Maybe docks could be on the cards, right? We don't know just yet. We'll find out soon enough as we are getting ready to transition right across in towards that. But as we know, the stakes are going to be pretty high. Not a lot of points currently separating our teams. So the heat is still on, and it's all going to come down to the final rumble in the jungle to see who's going to be those top 8 teams that are going to be moving through into the finals.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's not many points between them, so gonna be very, very tight indeed. Love when it comes down to the last game. But very quickly before we see that zone, never mind. I was gonna say, where do you want it to go? But we already have our answer. Let's answer it anyway. Where are we going? Where do you want it to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be docking over on towards boot camp. So, you know, it is what it is, right? Already we do see a little bit of that hot drop booty action coming through. And we do see also a potential play heading in the direction there of Camp Charlie. But Hellfire now just touching down alongside the players here from No Name. So let's see whether or not No Name are going to be looking to, maybe just improve on their stats from the previous 2 matches, whether or not they are going to be able to make it past at least this first little hurdle.
Yes, indeedy. I mean, I think they were kind of hoping for a quieter drop spot, especially when the other team is Hellfire, who have been doing super well the last couple of games. What happened? What? Wait, no, that's not quite right. What? Hellfire?
Well, the first knock is in. That is... Yep.
Ouch.
Yep, that's the stinger.
Ouch.
That is a stinger right then and there. As No Name are our first team getting sent on their merry way once again. A super unfortunate play coming through for them. Savage obviously still in the mix. They are still up and at it, running around, going about their business. Yes, they've landed just north of boot camp, close towards that bridge. You know, just on the western side of Paradise. So, yeah, they're still alive. We still have
they're still here.
And Huss going about their business. Speaking about Huss, it is, of course, then the players here from Kama Esports that are also not too far away from the bootcamp position, but they are going to be finding a bit of a potential play coming through now as the players there from Coffee and Milk are just situated a little bit further on that southeastern side from them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be having to keep a close eye on that one because as well, we could also see Manic as well kind of get into a little bit of sandwich onto Coffee and Milk, so we'll have to see how that goes. The zone is already coming in, so we are going to be seeing mostly, I'm looking at 2 Belisos here because they are way out in the zone. They have a while to get in, but it's also, honestly, it's the same with the Crusaders as well. There's another team that we need to see do some really good work here in Sanhok to make up for some of those points. But yeah, a lot of teams already outside the zone needing to come in. But overall, it's actually looking like a very evenly spaced out zone first phase here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. The team's really just trying to play as much as the area as they can possibly find. But we're also seeing a little bit of a vacancy held over on towards that northwestern island. So curious to see if anyone's going to dare venture up in that direction. But for the time being, the dash is on. Blue Zone is going to be closing up, as you've mentioned before. The players going through there from the side of 2 Belisos still have quite a bit of ground to cover, and they're not alone. We also then see the players coming through from Cretinos, also caught all the way down in Camp Charlie. So curious to see at what point they are going to be making it back into the safety of zone. Speaking about zone, the next phase, the next stage, It's not a super aggressive shift. Just a slight
it's
little bit of an
not.
adjustment of what it was.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hop, skip, and a jump, really. It's not exactly a leap, I would say, which is fair for a lot of these teams. We're already seeing a lot of traffic coming in on that south side, so the zone is probably nice for them to not have to think about that as well. They can really just prioritize position, prioritize those eliminations, and then kind of just get that going into the next phase of the game without having to worry too much about zone. So that's nice for them. Yeah, and interesting as well, what I'm seeing here is actually Besitos. They're the only ones on that island, so they have a very nice spot for the next couple of phases, I would have thought, unless we get that super hard shift. They are good to go, so they have a high chance of actually getting pretty high up on these rankings.
Yeah, the opportunity definitely is there, especially seeing that they are so uncontested, right? Is going to allow them a little bit of luxury, at least for the time being, but hopefully that luxury doesn't convert into overconfidence. I mean, we haven't really seen any of that come through from them, so I don't even think that's even on the cards. But for the time being, there is a little bit of action brewing right here on the bootcamp hills, as we can see Onion and Potato now holding steady here for the side of Cap, and of course, as we mentioned, Coffee and Milk just down below. But where's it going to go? Is a drop now also just adds a little bit of a cherry on top here, and it could be a nice little bit of a much needed play coming through, especially now for Coffee and Milk.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I mean, Coffee and Milk, they've been having a pretty hard time, honestly. They've been getting some good positioning, some good positional points, but overall they've been a very quiet team, so would love to see a little bit more coming up from them. But yeah, they look like they got a pretty good spot in zone at the moment. We'll have to see how that one goes, because there is Cap over there as well, but they look like they got a pretty good handle on the angles that they have. And again, we're seeing the same sort of thing as we saw in Erangel, so this team definitely likes a much more central position, or perhaps mid position. So we're going to be seeing how that plays out for them. Hellfire still have full control of boot camp, which is going to be interesting, because as this continues to possibly center up, Hellfire could be in a very nice position.
Yeah, they definitely could be. I mean, as we know, boot camp back in the good old days used to be a heavily contested position. But speaking about contention, we do see that the players from the side, all our Dans, right? Dan, they are going to be looking to make a bit of a push here, as they now look to move a little bit further up in towards that zone coming through from the two Belisos. The standoff will continue here between Coffee and Milk and Cap. No one is going to be looking to make any crazy advances just yet. But the blue zone, in the meanwhile, will be centering up even more so now on towards bootcamp. And this is where things now could really get super interesting, because the Northern Territory is only occupied by 2 teams. The rest of the lobby, the other 11 teams, are from that center line down towards the south.
Yeah, they are. So we're really looking at a very, very busy south side, as you said. Still, though, we are going to be seeing Besitos. They're going to be quite happy here. They've already made it into zone. Here they are, already made it into zone. Just across the bridge, not contested in the slightest, so they have a really easy time coming in here. Going to be going straight for the warehouses, it looks like. Okay, so this is a pretty good spot for any sort of team to be coming in. It's a good spot for them, especially because they've had 0 contests. No one's contested them. Let's change that sentence there. But no one's contested them. So looking good, looking sharp. They've not had to use any of their resources. They're fresh for battle. The only way this could possibly kind of go awry for them is you kind of get into a relaxed state mentally when you have no fights to really think about. They had free reign in the north of the zone. That might come back to bite them later on when you start to see a little bit more of those fights start to come towards you, a little bit more aggression. But overall, I don't think this is going to be a bad thing for them at all.
Well, we'll have to wait and see just how that is going to be going. They are, at least for the time being, still going to be holding on to a decent spot right here up in towards bootcamp. But we
Yeah.
still got quite a few teams on those outlying regions having to make a bit of a decisive play here. Are they going to look to venture in? Are they going to look to hold on the side or just on that edge? Meanwhile, Hellfire, see them now just waiting in anticipation to see what is going to come through from the side of Kappas. Onion and Potato have now abandoned the position up high, leaving Coffee and Milk to just hold on and enjoy the hillside for what it is. But I gotta say, Hellfire, they've really been stepping up with their performance here, at least coming through from what we've been seeing in these previous 2 games. And if they can continue with that momentum, they could have a very satisfying performance come the end of this third game.
Yes, they could, absolutely. Would love to see that. Would love to see that indeed. I'm actually a little surprised here that we're seeing so many teams center up so imminently on boot camp, right? We're used to seeing teams kind of gather around a little bit, but no one's really taking an outside approach. They're as close to boot camp as they can possibly get, which is a very interesting play and not one that we generally see all that much. But who is this Maniac going head to head with somebody? Can't quite see who. Is that Kema? It is.
Yeah, that is Manic now losing the first one out now. Is going to be left behind, and that is a super unfortunate position to be in, especially with the blue zone now just starting to envelop them as well. But Vortex going to be looking to make a bit of a play. Still a bit of an opportunity available here, but you can see so many players now just lurking around in the bushes as the shots try to connect it up. Fake not having great success just yet, but they do find the angle now on towards the Cretinos. Well, just holding on, looking for a bit of an option as the blue zone is going to be just nipping at their heels momentarily. Meanwhile, Hellfire prepping themselves for a bit of a play here. We can see, of course, just up ahead of them are going to be the players coming through from the C4 Ivies. But it does seem like the C4 has not yet been lit.
No, indeed. Okay. This is really where it starts to get going, and the pressure really is all on C4 because that zone has in fact shifted. We're no longer looking at that south side. We're looking at a lot of water. That little island is also in play, but I'm not sure anybody's really going to use it. So Hellfire in a great spot. Oh, does get the Molotov off, I think, but at what cost? A12 going to be or rather Biz, sorry, I thought that said 812 there, but no, Biz is going to be going down there. Not sure if he's going to go out. We'll have to see how that goes, but now you've got 2 Balisos in here as well. So Hellfire, again, look like they might just get pushed out here.
Well, we could see a little of that bootcamp action of old now coming through as B12 has been picked up with that DBS. We can see Fake now also going down just on the top of that hillside. Now the pressure is on, as the angles are getting flushed out, they are getting rushed upon. But where will it go? Novita trying to hold on for dear life. We can see the team now moving in alongside them, going through from the Crusaders, and that is a good position. But the Onion now keeping a very steady aim. As you can see, it almost looked like they were AFK for a moment, but that is just the focus, the intense focus being applied. Zoom now getting picked up out in the blue zone. The hits comes through, and that is Zoom and Zombie going off, and down they are.
Ouchie, well, honestly. Yeah, that's such a shame for them because they really needed some really good points coming in here, and they just weren't able to grab it. The zone is such a hard thing to play around, especially when you're trying to make those late rotations, you know, into the mid game. It can be just super duper unfortunate that it doesn't work out often. So unfortunately for the Crusaders, they're not going to be able to pick up any really any more points for this game. But the action doesn't stop there, DK. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. The play zone's taking a few eliminations. Who's Savage just showing up randomly? Here we go, making that push onto Kama now.
Oh, come on.
Immediately shot down.
Yeah, that was Savage, right? But up comes Giro now, trying to find a little bit of that repentance. Will they be able to get it done, though? A little bit of a cat and mouse game yet again. But where will they go? Oh, back to the lobby is the answer. Yeah, C4 sneaking in with a cheeky spray down. Down goes Kama Esports, and it is absolute carnage now up in Bootcamp Cap. trying to put a cap on the Carnage here as well, but will he be able to pull it off? Trying to play from that southern edge. Now C4 Ivies trying to play a little bit of the cleanup, as we can see just up ahead. Of course, it is going to be Dan and Dan holding strong. Maybe the two Belisos could find a little bit of action on towards Hellfire.
Could indeed. I don't know how he escaped that. He literally walked through fire. I mean, I suppose it's all in the name, right? I mean, maybe that makes them immune to flames. I don't know. But my goodness, oh, this is a bad spot. You don't want to be at this spot. But it could be useful. Could be useful if they play this correctly. Got the one. But they're going up against last match's winners. The kind of momentum that takes. But they do end up doing the DPS comes through.
Yeah. Some good plays going through here now.
Jeez.
The two Belisos find themselves in a very centered position. I mean, this is a great spot to be in, an immense amount of hard cover, so many angles to play from. But are they going to get caught out on any of those angles? We don't know just yet. We'll find out soon enough. Of course, the sprays now just trying to chop up that smoke. But as we can see, there's nobody currently situated in there. The 4 Ivies, or rather the C4 Ivies, getting ready for a bit of the action. Oh, look at that now. The rush coming in on that northern approach.
Savage.
That is absolute carnage as yet another team now bite the dust. Of course, the play is coming through from the side of the Maybesitos, looking to push in on that western front, and maybe they could find a way in utilizing all the hard cover.
Yeah, they absolutely could, and they've been doing such a good job of just clearing teams in front of them. As the zone goes to them, DK, it has actually gone to that bank, so they're gonna have a lot of pressure because those front teams are gonna want to clear them out ASAP. But the way they've been going, that's gonna be a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it is going to be a very, very hard thing to do, but this is the fortunate part of boot camp again, right? All the hard cover, if utilized properly, could be a beautiful saving grace. But look at this. It is going to be Ghoul and Brittany not just trying to ride on the edge. They want to find that opportunity, but the C4 Ivy is not finding everything just yet. Meanwhile, it is going to be Maybesitos trying to lick their wounds, trying to get themselves back into contention. Meanwhile, the C4 Ivies, they've got their eyes on the prize. They want to at least establish a good foothold coming in. Look at that. Oh, it is an absolute upset. Yeah, the two Belisos now finding some beautiful sprays.
Oh, and they get it done. Dan. Doing some good work there. Oh my goodness. But Cap's still in the running up to our top 3 teams now. And Cap honestly could have a really good spot here. Yeah, I think these guys, they just have to chill. And just kind of, yeah, just chill, have an energy drink, a Kit Kat, whatever they need to keep energized. Okay, I thought that was against somebody. I didn't realize that was his teammate. I was like, oh my god, you're just rushing in there. But like this from Maybesitos, actually being proactive with it. That's what you want to see, a proactive team as Cap go down. Honestly, these guys are on fire.
Yeah, I mean, the two Belisos, they came in here and they decided, you know, no Cap, we're going to push this, and that is exactly what they did. But up comes the nade. That could be the end. Is it going to be on point? No! Fortunately,
they're on the
they are
outside
able to escape it.
Yeah.
It is going to be a 2v2 fight, but look at the setup coming through here from Maybesitos, just utilizing all the available area here, but the sprays coming in. That is the knock having found its way on up. And now it is down to Dan to see if they can maybe bring in that final bit of a play here. But look at the jumps all over the place. Today it's going to be a jump Elam to look in at that glorious winner chicken dinner. And what a play it has been so far.
You caught me red-handed. Wow. That jump shot. I mean, that was just phenomenally played by them in general. Really, really nicely done. Apparently, that kind of relaxed early phase really played in their favor. They were able to just keep chill, focus in, and get ready for that end game. And they did it super duper well. I mean, 4 eliminations, not the most that we've seen tonight, but certainly the ones that counted.
Yep, they definitely do count it. Of course, we did see Dan and Dan finishing with 4 eliminations to their name as well. Then we had the players there from Cap coming into that 3rd place, finishing with 3 elims up. We had the C4 Ivies finishing up with 4 elims, so some pretty strong figures being brought in here by our top 4 teams. Of course, we had Old Man and Nossa also then picking up their 2 elims. So a very decent spread coming through from our respective teams. Let me just quickly check here. All right, so we do have the UC codes that are going to be dropping soon. They'll be popping into the chat momentarily. Unfortunately, we're not going to be having any major stat breakdowns coming in this last match. Unfortunately, it does seem like the Gremlins have been doing their thing here. But we did see a very strong performance coming in nonetheless. The team's definitely keeping the Sanhok action alive. I mean, we did see a few unfortunate events happening in those early few stages, but that is just the way the cookie crumbles right here in PUBG Mobile competitive action.
It really is, and I want to also say big kudos to a lot of those teams because it was very even across the board. You know, in many of these games, we've been seeing those 8, 10, 6 eliminations and a lot of teams with none, but very, very even, especially across that top 5. I think it goes down to 5th that you end up seeing a lot of starts to see teams with less kills, but very, very even there with that top 4 in particular. So very nicely done. Definitely seeing who's dominating, but at the same time, evenly across the board at the same time. So they're all here to win it.
Yeah, they're definitely in here to win it, of course. Speaking about winning it, the UC codes are going to be dropping in the chat as well. There's going to be a 3-minute delay between when I say it and when it happens. I don't know, but that's kind of just what we know from all the events and things that have been happening so far. But gotta say, day number 2 right there for the semifinals been absolutely jam-packed. As we know, only a few select teams are going to be making it through into the next stage, making it through in towards those finals. And apparently it says here, when I raise my hand and I say the codes are going to drop now, that is when they're going to drop. But there's going to be a 3-minute delay. So you're going to see my hand going up 3 minutes after the codes have dropped. So let's try this. I've put my hand up. Let's see. Are the codes going to drop? Is that it? Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, I am watching that like a hawk. But yeah, very, very, just really good games coming in tonight, DK. I mean, looking very good for those finals as well, coming in on Friday. The finals are going to be really good. If this is the semifinals, then the finals, man, are going to be very, very interesting to watch as well. Especially when you've got such strong teams from both groups coming in here. I mean, we've seen certain teams from each group really dominating. So to see them clash and go head-to-head together on the same sort of maps, I'm going to be very excited to look at that.
Yeah, what is going to be quite exciting to see also is going to be who will be those eight teams moving on through. I'm pretty sure the results will be posted on social media, so be sure to head on over to the official PUBG Mobile Esports NA Instagram. Yeah, well, to the Instagram to go see what who those teams are. I almost said channel, then I realized, wait, Instagram doesn't have channels. It's a thing. But either which way, I think that is going to conclude all our action here for today. Be sure to join us back again on Friday as we hop into the finals with all our super insane teams now getting ready for even more action. But until then, stay fresh, stay frosty, and we hope to see you all back again as we continue with our first day of finals on Friday.